So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to have a conversation with the wonderful Margot. So if you want to come and join me up here. So Louisa is unable to join us for personal reasons. But we have Margot with us, and Margot has been a key leader in ushering in Copenhagen Metro safety culture in recent years. I actually know Margot. It's the first time we've met in person. We spent like a year on Zoom calls, so it's super exciting to be in this conversation. Margot is the Director of Safety and Environment for Copenhagen Metro projects. She's held management positions in the Danish construction industry for 20 years. And we're going to do kind of like a 15-minute Q&A. So rather than a talk, we're going to do a Q&A. So my first question is, what made you start the safety journey at Metro?
And what a good question that is. First of all, thank you very much for having me. I was here 4 years ago when we had just started the very beginning of the journey. And that came because we had a collaboration started with OGD, where we had the opportunity of meeting several executives from different companies that are also represented here today. Meetings about safety, but not with safety people in tradition, as where we were coming from. We had the opportunity to meet in their offices. We had the opportunity to go on a platform, see the real stuff out there. And what struck us was, I think we've had a feeling that we were taken behind the scene. But then we realized that there was nothing backstage. That was how it was. And what struck us, I think, was that safety, it was like a mindset, a mental dress code that you just wore when you were at work. Safety was everywhere, and it was in such a different way than we spoke about it, and then we did it as a client. So we were curious, but we were also wowed. This is possible, and we really wanted to do something like it. So that was how the journey started, really from experiencing how it's done in a different business. And also realizing that it was done differently, but there were also some very obvious similarities. So when you go to a platform, I was expecting it to be very different, but the construction work that goes on there and the work methods are really super similar. The challenges of working with many contractors, many nationalities, different cultures, and working with cultural change at itself were also very similar. So there was things that we could work with, and that was what gave us the inspiration to try on our own.
Brilliant. It's, the thing that strikes me is it's wanting to take on the journey from pure desire. You know, often in my work I come across companies are often taking it on because something bad's happened. So I think it's really inspiring simply to go, we want to do something because we see something's possible. And Margot, what would be your top 2 lessons from the last 2 years from your journey?
But there are many.
4 years, sorry.
Yeah, there are many. But what comes to mind is how important it is to lead safety. And when I say that, it is because we were many, I'm myself one, who was talking about safety and who was saying all the right things, but not leading. And when you do that, in my opinion, you lose credibility. And then you're lost, really. Then it just doesn't work. So this really leading it and owning it, I find is a really big lesson for me, what that means and how that is different. And another thing is how challenging it actually is to change it in an organization. The effort, the time, the hours that I and colleagues have put into relation building and networking and having this desire move out to more people, it's really hard work, really hard work. And you may have to push in some of the doors that are closed. So that was a lesson. And having said that, it works. So once you keep at it, it actually makes a difference. When I was here 4 years ago, I'm humble today too. But I was very humble because I was speaking to so many people who were doing it differently, and now we've tried, and we have made achievements. And I really take great pride in sharing with you that when we started the journey, we had very much a different approach, and it could probably be measured on our accident frequency rates, which were at the time around 22, below the Danish national average for construction, but still quite high. At the time, we didn't necessarily think it was that high. But comparing to what I think, in my opinion, has been our best safety year in 2019, we were down at 5. So it really has made a difference. We're a different client, and we have a safer work environment for all our workers. So, and that really, really comes out of this collaboration from here. In my opinion, it really does.
It's beautiful. And then I know that you recently had a fatality.
We did.
So firstly, just if you share about it, but also what's your top takeaway and learning from that?
Well, we were in really good shape. And we felt really good about ourselves. And then what wasn't supposed to happen did. So on May 4th this year, one of our riggers, Polish rigger, Krzysztof Wojciech from Poland, he died in an accident. And it was a crane operation with a basic lift. It was late night. I remember I was in bed getting ready to just reading in bed, and when I got the call, and I hadn't been involved in a project with a fatality before. And I remember just in the beginning, we didn't realize the severity of it. And then I think within 30 minutes, half an hour, we realized he had died. And the meetings through the night, the stop of work, it was such a shock, and it was just such an immense sadness about it. And I still have this feeling when talking about it. We really didn't think it was going to happen. We thought we were in such a good place. So we stopped work, we did a full-blown accident investigation, we learned, we implemented, but still, we had, as a client, allowed a work environment, even if it was a pocket in one of our many sites, where it happened that a rigger felt that it was okay to take a chance or take a risk, and we also had allowed an environment where co-workers around him didn't speak up. So where do you go from there? And you just realize that it is a journey, in fact, and it does make a difference that you continue, and keep it up, because it's the right way to go.
Beautiful. So, firstly, thanks for sharing that, because I know how difficult it is. One of the things that always strikes me, because I happen to speak to a lot of people that have been impacted by accidents, is everybody remembers the date. So there's this thing about dates that are kind of emblazoned in our brains when something terrible happens. But thanks for sharing both the positive and also how hard it is when things do go wrong. Thank you. So let's...
Can I just add a final short thing?
Hold on 1 sec. So Margot wants to add one other thing.
So what we're working with right now is the next steps in our strategy, and it's very much exactly that. How do you keep it alive? How do you keep it going? And how do you keep your colleagues to continue owning up to it, because it's so easy to, or it can be easy to go back to old habits and going by default. So just really keeping the desire and the pull. And I think with all the work we've done, it's not like we're back to zero. It doesn't mean that. It just, we needed to focus on keeping that desire to keep it going,
Alive.
having that stay with us for the next year.
Great. Thank you.